Clarissa, thank you so much for doing this. I know your time is so valuable.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. What was it like being in first call out at Prejudging at NPC Miami Nationals?
I was shocked. So, being that it was my first time rookie on the stage, just seeing the other girls, I was like, oh my gosh, like very, very stiff competition, but I would expect nothing less for nationals. So, when I heard my number being called, I was like, oh my God, that's me. And I was just happy to even be in the first call outs. I didn't know where I was going to be placed, but I was just happy to hear my number.
You think the conditioning for you was on point this year?
It was by far my best conditioning. I can always improve, of course, but that was the best I can do that day. And yeah, that was the best I could do personally for that day. But I know I could do better.
Was the prep emotional for you at all?
Always emotional preps. You sacrifice a lot, relationships, family, friends, time with everybody, not being able to go out and socialize that much. So, yes, very emotional when you can't do certain things, but you just have to regroup, kind of think what your goals are, and that kind of just kept me focused. And I saw the light shining brighter, brighter at the end of the tunnel, each day. So that was nice.
Did you have family with you in Miami?
No, my family stayed at home in Chicago. I went with my boyfriend. He's very, very supportive. So he came along with me. We made a vacation out of it and it was a great rest of the week.
Was your boyfriend the person who was shooting the video when after the show you're walking on the street and you're doing pull-ups in a construction site?
Yes, he did.
That was just a spur of the moment thing?
Yes, of course. Anytime I see a pull-up bar, I'm going to do them.
What about in the last year or 2 years? How's your body changed?
Drastically. So I actually figured out that the reason I couldn't get into peak conditioning with my previous shows was being on the birth control pill. And I'm actually very open about this, but it actually screwed up my hormones completely to the point where it canceled out any muscle gain that I was trying to gain, any body fat loss. Like it made it really, really tough for me. So finally I got off of it. It was just poisonous to my body. And I try to tell any females out there that if they are on some sort of birth control pill, there is other alternatives to not have that hormone go into your body. But I did it for just like just cysts and things that, aren't very comfortable being a female, and ended up getting off of it. And then my body just completely transformed with these past two shows. So my qualifier, I had taken 2 years off, and then my qualifier, going into it, and I was like, I something was off. I felt off. I knew it was something. So I did some research, kind of balanced out my hormones a little bit better naturally. And then just like that, my weight dropped. I lost a lot of water weight. And then I was able to get into peak conditioning for nationals and kind of pull it together towards the end there. So.
I've never heard of that with the birth control. Did you have to take some kind of test, like a blood test or something, to see what was going on? Or
No, I kind of figured it out, and I knew that it was like holding me back. And it was just like a light bulb, like, oh my God, that's what's inhibiting me from um, progressing and getting my body in peak condition all the time. And I knew that I was holding a lot of water weight. I pay attention to those things with my body, especially. So when it happens to me, I can kind of stop it right away. So
what do you think it's going to take? Yeah, that's really interesting. What do you think it's going to take to go after that pro card, Clarissa?
We've made some diet adjustments this past prep. So now it's just kind of digging a little bit further into that. Maybe starting those tweaks a little bit sooner in prep. And it really just came down to nutrition, because I train hard. I do all my cardio, I do all my reps. But now it's getting the conditioning on point with diet. So, and diet is absolutely everything. So, being that we made those changes a little bit sooner, might even be a little sooner, might be a little bit harder of a prep, but that's okay, because that's what happened.
What about your suit this year, the red suit? Who made that? And it's really awesome.
My suit was made by Anne from A Quarter Turn to the Right, and it was the best suit. That color really popped. I've always gone royal blue, and having those 2 years off and coming back, I'm like, I want to make a comeback this year. I need brand new everything. I changed my jewelry. I changed the color of my suit. I changed my hair color to even darker. Like, I just wanted that bold look. And I'm like, no one really wears that bright red. So that was my color, and I'm sticking to it.
That's such a cool name, A Quarter Turn to the Right.
Yeah.
What about, how did the bodybuilding journey for you start?
I started when I was 21. I actually started in the bikini category. I'm 26 now. I'll be 27 next month. It actually started on a bet. When I first got into training, clients, personal training, I was 19 years old. And I didn't know much about weightlifting. I've always been very athletic from my previous history, but I was just clueless, and I have really, really good genetics. More so in my legs than anything, my quads. Everyone talks about the quads. And that came from my previous sport. So I got into the fitness industry, and everyone was like, hey, you should really go on stage and do this. And one of my friends, a trainer back in the day, we're still friends till this day. He was like, hey, I bet you can't go on stage and place. And the bet was only to place. So I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anything. I'm like, yeah, I could totally do this. And I never turned down a fitness bet. If it's anything fitness related, I'll probably do it. So I did some research, looked up different diets, looked up different workouts, looked up different pros and how they were training. And I'm like, I want her shoulders, I want her glutes, her legs. And I kind of pieced together my own workouts. Went on stage my first time, placed third. I went all the way to Ohio for it, just to get out there. Judges' feedback were like, hey, you're a natural at posing. And that was probably from a dance background. I'm very good at posing. I like being on stage. So, yeah, and I just kind of ran with it. But genetics kind of took over, and I had to jump up to figure, because my legs were a little too big for bikini category. So, yeah, it all came from a bet and just trying it, and I ran with it.
How do you go from, the different posing from bikini to figure? Was that pretty easy?
It was for me. I can see where some of the struggle is. Going into figure. Figure is a little bit more technical, whereas bikini can have a little bit more like flirtatious fun with it on stage. So I kind of do a combo of both, especially with my individual routine. I like to throw a little, um, sass up there and have a little, something to give to figure. But the mandatories are pretty hard though. I'm still trying to perfect a little bit. I always change something like in my back pose or something because I know it could always get better.
People, they ever come up to you, they're like, Clarissa, why are you carrying that gallon of water right now, and that type of thing?
All the time. I've actually been, a friend must have saw me at a stoplight once, and she's like, you should really carry a normal water bottle. I'm like, whatever. Gets the job done.
Do you have a coach now?
I do. His name is Mike Costa. He's a good friend and awesome coach.
So what about for next year? We're going to see you on stage again in the summer. Still talking with your coach on what show you want to do?
Yeah, so as soon as I got off stage, he already had a plan in the books. I'll probably start prep about mid-February, and then go right to junior nationals and give this another go.
Clarissa, you have a lot of people come up to you, they're inspired by you?
Surprisingly, yes. I try to inspire as many people as I can, even if that has nothing to do with bodybuilding or nothing to do with fitness. If I can just put somebody in a good mood or go after whatever they want, that's a good day for me. So, yes.
What do you think bodybuilding has taught you about life?
Discipline, lots and lots of discipline. Having those sacrifices, and sometimes the little give and take. If you have those sacrifices, it really makes you appreciate more of the little things. But discipline is probably the number one thing. It makes me succeed with my career. I own my own business, so just that little bit of extra, and it's like, how can I apply bodybuilding to my career, and just not just like the lifting and the dieting and all that stuff, but as much effort as if I put into a prep, I put into my business, I put into different relationships, people that I meet. So yeah, it's kind of like a big circle of just goodness, determination, hard work, all of that.
Someone, they might be watching this and they're struggling with some of that, eating clean, working out.
Yeah.
This is the last question for you, Clarissa. What would you say to them?
Go back to what your goals are. Somebody asked me, I did a lecture at a local school, a local high school, and the first question I received from a student was, how do you stay motivated? And that was probably a very in-depth question. It's so simple, but I always say, I go back to my goals. What am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to do? If I just think about the whole process and how much work I have to do, it's very defeating because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. But if I focus on where I want to be, I just kind of take baby steps and day by day and go closer and closer to that goal. So I don't really look at like the big picture of everything because that's a lot. It's very overwhelming. But I go like, what can I do today that's going to get me that much closer the next day or the next hour of my day? Because it could be a long day, So just find out what your goals are. If you have to make little goals in between just to get you to that next benchmark, then you're already ahead of the game.
Well, it's so cool to be talking to you right now. You're such an inspiration. We'll be excited to see you and your quads on stage next year.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.